Good evening and welcome to a special meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety on Thursday, August the 12th at 7 p.m. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time I would like to have everyone introduce themselves beginning on my far right.
David Harrison.
James Kaufman, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, Board. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to hear and to come to an agreement with a development company for the construction of a new police station. So this is a public hearing, and I'm going to ask Jim to read into the record the report given dated July the 12th.
To the Board of Public Works and Safety of Beech Grove, Indiana, from the RFPQ Committee. As directed by the Common Council of Beech Grove, Indiana, the Council, we have acted in our role as members of the RFPQ Committee to solicit responses to a request for proposals and qualifications for the design, construction, and financing of a new police department headquarters through a build, operate, transfer process. The committee followed all notification and RFPQ requirements per Indiana Code 5-23. The committee completed the RFPQ process and received proposals from multiple offerers. The committee determined that the most qualified offerer was the GM development team and subsequently entered into a scoping period with the team. The selected team concluded the scoping period via a presentation to the council on July 6, 2021. The preliminary design was found to be satisfactory to the police department, and the scope of the project was further determined to be compliant with the budget thresholds established by the city's financial advisor in previous council meetings. Therefore, this committee is pleased to recommend GM Development Companies, LLC as the developer for the project. The committee makes this recommendation because of their experience in this field and with the BOT process. Their stellar track record with similar projects, including multiple similar public safety projects throughout Indiana, and their team's demonstrated knowledge of similar project design, construction, budgeting, and financing. Their proposal clearly demonstrated their knowledge and desire to achieve the city's necessary outcomes and financial goals. Most importantly, their research during the scoping period has determined that the project can be successfully designed to meet the needs of the police department and completed within the established budget parameters. The council voted unanimously on July 6, 2021 to recommend to the Board of Public Works and Safety that GM Development Companies, LLC be selected as a developer for the project through the BOT process. And the RFPQ committee hereby makes its recommendation to proceed with the project and selected offer. Respectfully submitted, members of the RFPQ committee.
I think that would include, the members of the committee were Chief Maurice, Deputy Chiefs Hurley and Mercury, Council President Pro Tem Robert Ferguson, Councilor Kevin Day, and Councilor Buddy Templin. Is that right, Chief? Yes. Is there anybody else I missed?
We had Captain Matt Hickey and Sergeant David Parker as well.
Sergeant David Parker and Captain Mac Hickey also participated. I want to thank all of them and the council for their input and their vote of confidence. This evening, we want to hear from Greg Martz. Greg Martz is the GM Development, and I want Greg to take us through the BOT process, what BOT means, and how that works for municipal governments. And then once that is done, we will open up the public hearing. Greg, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. And my name is Greg Martz with GM Development, as Mayor just said, and the letter that Mr. Kaufman just read actually said perfectly exactly what I was going to give us some background, but I'll reiterate some of those points. The code that the city has used to solicit the procurement for this project is Indiana Code 5-23, and that code is called the Build, Operate, Transfer Statute. And so, Mayor, in order to answer your question, I'll talk about what the city has already done that's required by that law, and then also talk about what the next steps would be. So not only you all know what will happen next, but also members of the public here tonight. In April, We had responded to a statutorily required RFQ process, which was advertised in the newspaper, and then we interviewed with the committee, as you just said, the members of the committee there, Mayor. And underneath this law, what happens is we enter into a what's called a scoping period. And what the scoping period has done has given the city an opportunity for us to work on putting together designs and budgets to make sure that they will work within the parameters that your financial advisor, legal counsel, and the police department have all given us. And so what that would include would be putting together designs, multiple designs that we've done over the last several months, putting budgets along with them, and then coming to essentially coming to an agreement that that the maximum amount that Mr. Peters, the city's financial advisor, had given us back in April will allow the city to give the police department what they need. And so underneath this law, at the end of that process, what's required is a public hearing, which is what this meeting is here tonight. And with this public hearing, what we're requesting, well, what we're here to report is that the scoping period has been very successful. One thing I did want to say is a big thank you to Chief and the entire police department, and also to everyone at City Hall that has been working with us for the last 4 months. The communication has been outstanding. We had a lot of work to do in a short period of time. It's been about a 4-month period, and it couldn't have happened without that level of communication. So we work with a lot of cities, and I would absolutely say the communication level we've had is the best I've ever seen with Beech Grove. Because of that, we were able quickly to find that what is needed and what we've programmed for the police department can be achieved within the parameters that Mr. Peters gave us 4 months ago. And so this is a good news meeting to let you know that we can do that, and we're willing tonight to tell you that if you choose to move forward with this project, that we will be able to construct the project for the police department within that budget. What would happen tonight if you do vote to move forward with the project, we would then start working with your legal counsel and financial advisor to put together contracts, and only upon approval of your legal counsel and financial advisor would they be ready to execute. We will start working on those immediately if we move forward tonight. I would estimate it would probably take about a week to put those together, and then your legal counsel and financial advisors can take as long as they need to review them, of course, and edit as needed. Once we execute those, then we would enter into a full design period. So I would say what you can think of design at this point is what I would call schematic design. So think of it as about a 30% completed design. Once the contract is completed, then we could progress into 100% completed design, which would take about 8 weeks, and then you would see construction happening shortly thereafter. So believe it or not, construction could occur yet this year if we do have approval tonight. Construction will take approximately 13 months, I would say, 13 to 14. I know at council I said 14. I think if everyone has in their mind 13 to 14 months, I think that's a very, very legitimate construction period from the time we begin to the time the police department could move in. There would be another public meeting needed in order to approve the financing itself. But again, that process can happen simultaneously while we're completing design, and so we will not lose any time on the project while that process is happening. And again, we'll work with your financial advisor and legal counsel to complete that process as well. I know I covered a lot there. Is there any questions that I can answer for you?
Another public hearing, would that come through this board or the council?
You know, that's a good question. So, and I don't even know that it would have to be a public hearing, because the law does only require one public hearing. But there would need to be a public meeting to pledge the revenues towards the financing, and so it would most likely just be a normally regular scheduled public meeting. and likely would just be a resolution. Depending on which strategy you use, it could be a resolution or an ordinance, but again, we'll follow the lead on your legal counsel, financial advisor for that.
I have always kind of stayed in the back, and I did a public comment yesterday, and I said that the big question that I get, and I'm going to continue to get, is where's this police station going to be built at? And my comment was, I'm going to let the chief take that message. And when the chief's ready to declare where it's going to be at, then I'm fine with that. But until then, won't comment, other than the fact that we are working on it very diligently, and there's been great strides made in the last week. And but I think I'll defer that message to the police department. So, board members, you have anything for Greg?
I do not.
I can't think of anything.
Okay, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to open up a public hearing. We had a sign-up sheet in the back. Nobody signed up to speak. However, if there's somebody out in the audience now who would like to speak, who didn't sign up, please come on up to the podium. If there's no one that would not like to speak, we will close the public hearing, and we will move to resolution number 8, 2021. And at this time, I'll ask the clerk to read it into the record, please.
Resolution number 8, 2021. Authorizing the entry into a BOT agreement and related documents and taking certain other actions related thereto. Whereas Indiana Code 5-23 authorizes municipalities to adopt certain powers with respect to the consideration and entry into BOT agreements as defined in the Act. And whereas the Beech Grove, Indiana Common Council has previously adopted a resolution adopting the provisions of the Act and authorized the issuance of a request for proposals, qualifications for the development, construction, financing, operation, and transfer of a new police department headquarters to be located in the city, along with associated infrastructure and land acquisition. And whereas the Board of Public Works and Safety has received a recommendation to enter into a BOT agreement with GM Development Companies, LLC, to provide for the development, construction, operation, and transfer of the project, all pursuant to the proposals submitted by the developer on or about March 9, 2021. And whereas, pursuant to the Act, the Board has published notice of a public hearing with respect to the recommendation, and on the date hereof has held such public hearing and considered all public comments with respect to the recommendation. And whereas, to effect such recommendation, the city has agreed to enter into a certain public-private agreement, namely a BOT agreement, by and between the developer and the city. Whereas such BOT agreement constitutes a BOT agreement as defined in the Act, and whereas, in order to provide for the construction of the project, it may be necessary for the city to grant a temporary easement with respect to the sites of the project to the developer pursuant to a temporary easement agreement. And whereas the council now desires to award the public-private agreement to the developer and approve the entry into the BOT agreement and temporary easement agreement, each in a form to be reviewed and approved by the city attorney upon conclusion of the design and scoping period. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety for Beech Grove, Indiana as follows. Section 1, award. Pursuant to the Act, the council hereby awards the BOT agreement for the project to the developer pursuant to and in accordance with the terms set forth in the transaction documents, to be delivered by the developer upon conclusion of the design and scoping period and approved by the city attorney. Section 2, findings. The council hereby finds that execution of the transaction documents, including the BOT agreement, will serve the public purposes of the city and is in the best interest of the city and its residents. Section 3, authorization of transaction documents. The council hereby approves each of the transaction documents in a form to be delivered by the developer upon conclusion of the design and scoping period and approved by the city attorney and mayor, such approval to be evidenced by their execution and delivery of such documents. The mayor is further authorized and directed to execute and deliver each of the transaction documents on behalf of the city with such changes as the mayor, upon the advice of the city attorney, deem appropriate and consistent with this resolution, their approval to be evidenced by their execution thereof. Section 4, Other Actions. The mayor and any other officer of the city are hereby authorized to take any and all actions and execute any documents or certificates that such officers deem necessary or desirable to effect the foregoing resolutions and the transactions contemplated by the BOT agreement. Any such actions taken or documents or certificates executed and delivered are hereby ratified, confirmed, and approved. Section 5, No Conflict. All ordinances, resolutions, and orders or parts thereof in conflict with the provisions of this resolution are to the extent of such conflict hereby repealed. After the issuance of the BOT agreement, and so long as the BOT agreement remains unpaid, except as expressly provided herein, this resolution shall not be repealed or amended, nor shall the city adopt any law, ordinance, or resolution which in any way adversely affects this resolution. Section 6, Severability. If any section, paragraph, or provision of this resolution shall be held to be invalid or unenforceable for any reason, the invalidity or unenforceability of such section, paragraph, or provision shall not affect any of the remaining provisions of this resolution. Section 7, Effectiveness. This resolution shall be in full force in effect from and after its passage.
Greg, on a couple of the notes, it referred to council. Should it say, in our case, Board of Works?
Yes, yep, I think that's exactly right, Mayor.
Okay. Also, before we vote, has this document been used for any other town or city?
Yes, that is our typical template that we use, and it has been used, I would say, around 100 times throughout the state. Right in there.
Oh, has there been any issues or problems?
No, sir.
I know, the reason I ask that is I know our friends out of Speedway just finished with the town hall or police, I don't know, I don't remember, but they use the same document?
Yes, actually, Mayor, we've, this is just police departments alone. This exact process that you're using has been used in Southport, Speedway, Fishers, Whitestown, Yorktown, Charlestown, and those are just police departments. We've used them dozens of other projects, but almost everything around Indianapolis has done this the exact same way that you are doing it.
I knew about Speedway, and I wanted to bring that out because I don't know why we would reinvent the wheel when we can focus on another one and save time and money. So, all right, the board have any questions?
I have none.
I have none.
If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve resolution number 8, 2021.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much.
That concludes our public meeting tonight concerning the police station. There will be no other business discussed this evening. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned at
7:19.
7:19. Thank you very much.